G'day guys, I'm Joel Kleber from the Gyms Group, and today we're going to spend a day on the road with Michael Beckter from Gyms Test and Tag and Fire Safety. So welcome, Michael.
How are you, Joel?
Good. So thank you for allowing us to do this. We haven't done one with Test and Tag yet, so I'm pretty excited about this. But just want to talk through some of the jobs and the things we're going to do today.
Yeah, so we've got a wide variety of jobs today. So start off, we'll go and do a factory and an office that we're going to do, the testing and tagging. And then later on, we have a couple of jobs where we've got to service some fire extinguishers and do some exit emergency discharge tests.
Perfect. So let's jump in the vehicle and let's check out what the Test and Tag guys do in their day.
Well, I sort of started my own business with a mate. Prior to that, I was actually living and working in Thailand as an engineer. I pretty much left that because the demands of emails and things that were coming online then was just astronomical. And as an engineer, I wanted something that I guess wasn't too hard, on my body, because I was starting to I was up around 50 when I first started. But I still wanted something that sort of mentally stimulated me, so that's why I sort of jumped at the role as a franchisor. I get to sort of manage and sort of mentor, the other new guys coming on, and at the same time, I get to do the test and tag where it's just me and myself in a corner, no one bothers me. And it's happy days. I get to listen to podcasts or the cricket or whatever sort of tickles your fancy for the day. As I said, I sort of started the business with a friend of mine. That sort of didn't end too well. I knew test and tag safety was a thing of sort of the future. It was always going to be demand. This opportunity of the Melbourne Southeast region come up, which I knew was sort of heavy industrialised. So there was a large demand here, and you can see that by the amount of competitors that are around the region, that it is heavily in demand around here. So so there's 8 of us all up. A lot of them sort of newer guys. A lot of the old timers, they've sort of moved on. So I think we've got 3 guys sort of 14 months old, so sort of starting their journey. So it's good just helping them out. They're sort of eager to learn, willing to come to the meetings, happy to talk to people, do anything that they've got to do to build their business. James took over his father's business. Jeff was in for probably 12 or so years, and decided that, it's time for him to sort of hang up the boots. It was a good established business, so James, as an electrician, thought he'd had enough of the construction industry. And young family, wanted time, so this sort of enabled him to sort of tick all those boxes and still have a good income. And James, the electrician and the test and tag, it complements one another. And he's even said he hasn't learned. Well, he thought he knew everything until he sort of did our training, and he sort of learned a lot through our training. So the first couple of days is the generic gyms training, so where everyone sort of meets together and you learn about the gym systems. I'm sure you're part of it. And then we move on to the test and tag, so there's a day or so of sort of cultural type of stuff, how we act, managing the brand, things like that. Then we move into the testing and tagging. So primarily at the end of the training, we hope to get people to a position where they're quite confident in what they're doing. So there'll be scenario playing. There's lots of appliances and things to test the training. It's not formal in any sense. So, if you're sort of a bit stuck on something, you can go back to it, things like that. There's a couple of days where we actually bring an RTO in to do our ticket, and then at the end of it, there's some time. I guess you have a discussion with your franchisor on how confident you feel, but generally they'll spend maybe 1 or a week with the franchisor, and that doesn't stop until once you feel that you're fully comfortable in what you're doing.
Because it's very comprehensive training. It's well above the norm, like if you did an independent ticket, for example, with what you guys do.
Yeah. Well, the normal ticket that you can buy online or whatever it is sort of like half a day or maybe a day, where ours is 11.
Yeah.
I think it is a pretty good group, and once you sort of establish your own internal network, I mean, people just gravitate to that. They work together, they socialise together. There's guys at training. They'll start off, they might come from multiple states, and even today, after multiple years, you're still in connection with those people, even though they're right across the other side of the country. So there is a good connection between each group, and you should feel confident that, in the contact list, that you could ring up anyone in that contact list, and if they can, they'll help you.
Yeah.
But then I think the training and then the support they get, and if everyone's sort of banging the same drum, it makes it easier for people just to sort of accept that. And that's the way we operate. It's a proven process that, at the end of the day, we're all here to make money.
Yeah.
That's it. And, if there's a way of doing it without damaging anything, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
That's, even with, you want to spend time with family and friends and things like that. At the end of the day, we all need to make money. There's some guys doing extremely well. There was one guy at conference. He'd been in 2 years in country Victoria. Yeah. And he was turning over 300,000
a year
by himself.
Wow.
Which it's
a great business.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of captured a bit of a market being out in the country, but he put a lot of the local incumbent suppliers out of business, I guess, because he started doing things properly. Yeah. Or businesses realised that they weren't getting what they were paying for. You're not working 60 or 70 hours a week. No. So you can earn your 200,000, and I would say, 30 to 40 hours a week.
A lot of blokes have their golf day as well on the Friday, and there's a few of them who won't work the Friday and do golf, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I can't say I'm one of those lucky ones. But not because I don't want to do it. It's just that I've overflowed with work, and I feel sort of a bit obligated to service my customers, which just seems a bit ridiculous, but... that's just the way I guess I'm built. So there is a little bit of groundwork where you've got to do. You've got to be willing to sort of self-promote yourself. Yeah. Say if we go and do a job in here, you would then sort of go across the road and say, hey, listen, we're at Couriers Please, just done some testing and tagging. If there's anything I can help you out with, don't hesitate to contact me. Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. And you may or may not get a job that day, but at some point in time they'll eventually ring you. Yeah. Or because I'm in the area, I guarantee leads will start popping up because I've driven down the street or things like that. So staying visible, I guess that's
showing your face, staying visible.
Yeah, is really key to sort of making it. Sitting at home just doesn't do it. You don't have to be an extrovert, but you've got to be willing to sort of have a conversation with people, and it's not a hard sell. I'm not a salesman, so it's just a matter of...
well, it's a service they need, isn't it? So that's the thing, right?
Yeah. And, we've found that, if they ring the call centre, they're pretty well decided on what they want to do. Yeah. We just got to show them that we're a competent business, and generally they'll accept us.
All right, well, first job, let's get into it.
So each site we come to, if we've been here before.
Yeah, talk.
So we have data from previous testing, so we upload that into the tester. And then we can just run around with our barcode. So generally the second time makes it a little bit easier to test, because we've been here before and we have all the data, we don't have to re-enter it back in again.
Yep.
This is our standard equipment, so PTE, Prime Test Elite Tester. It's probably one of the better ones or best ones in the market. Huge database, memory facility, printers quick, they clip onto your belt if necessary. So when I first started, I didn't have anything really established. It was just like a few plastic containers and everything sort of sat in the containers. And then I guess as I sort of worked out how I wanted to work, things sort of grew from there. Probably a bit extensive, but some guys, they have some very elaborate systems in the back of their vehicles. So I have my own power source up there now that I can charge with printers, or if I need to do stuff on the road and that, I can test without an issue. All right. Generally, like in large, so this houses all my sort of additional equipment that I need to take with me on site. A lot of guys, there's no sort of standard trolley, we call them. It's just whatever works for you. The other advantage is you got a workplace, because once we get in there, there's not always somewhere where you can sit your tester and that. So this just sort of, just makes working a little bit easier. This is a warehouse of a client of mine. So right at this point, we've got a forklift charging station where we just go through, we test each charger, check the leads, do insulation and earth tests on them, and then move on. So obviously we have a new one here where we might have a new one to add to the database. It's more around the building industry, so we have colour codes. So quarter for the building industry is red at the moment in the summer period. In offices, warehouses and things, you can use any colour you want. I don't use red because to me red means danger anyway. But what we do each time we come, we will change colours. So then, they're all white at the moment. This time it'll be all green, so I can identify which ones we've done and which ones we haven't done. The client can see that things have been tested or what hasn't been tested, and it's up to date. So the testing and tagging testing frequency is based on the environment that the appliance operates in. So in this instance, it's sort of like warehouses, factories, workshops, is all 6 months. Offices, according to the standard, are anywhere from 12 months to 5 years. So, some people say, oh yeah, but it's a computer working out in this type of environment. Well, it's the environment, it's not the appliance. We could take this and put it indoors and put it in a nice, airtight, dust-proof environment. So why would you need to test it every 6 months? So some of our clients are a little bit misunderstand that requirement. So first check is make sure that there's no damage to any of the cables, no damage to any of the equipment. Sometimes when forklifts, you've got prongs and things can come in, hit leads, things like that. So pretty important that, especially three-phase equipment, because there is no coming back from being hit with that. Doing an earth check, making sure that there's earth between the system and this unit here, so any steel components here. Everything seems okay. It sort of depends on what it is. If it's something that's sort of like going to stop production, I'd sort of go and see the manager or supervisor and say, listen, there's a problem here, it needs to be addressed right now. Because at the same time, you want to pick up everything you can. Some places, their production line is their whole business. You could be, it could be thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a day. So you just got to be respectful about things like that and sort of act in an appropriate manner rather than just saying, no, that's it, shut the whole show down, everyone go home for the day. That's, that can't happen. If it's an extension lead or something similar like that, you might just put a tag on it, keep it with you, take a photo, say, to the supervisor at the end, once we're finished, say, listen, I found 2 or 3 extension leads. They're up on a desk. I told the supervisor up there. It just sort of continual communication with the owners, clients, supervisors, so that they know what's actually going on.
Yeah.
You just can't leave things half finished. It probably comes down to customer service and value. It's, why pay someone to come and do something that they're not actually doing? They're just coming here, wrapping tags around. They look like they're going to play bingo. They walk in with a big roll and they come up and they just wrap any lead that they can find, just wrap around, walk out. Might be here an hour.
So they don't even test the thing?
No, nothing's tested. No. They may look at it. I don't know. I haven't been there. But, and the client, they're paying good money for potentially nothing.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they're insured, maybe they're not. I mean, if something goes wrong, the client hasn't sort of done their due diligence on the supplier themselves, and all of a sudden they've got no insurance, someone gets hurt. I mean, what happens? It just comes back to the client.
Yeah.
And, that becomes, I'd hate to even think.
Yeah.
Our customer service, we talk to our customers, we make sure everything's okay before, coming onto site, leaving site. They're happy and we're happy at the end of the day.
Cool.
In the warehouse, it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Mainly because they're a lot more sparse, but then when you go into an office where you've got a workstation with a couple monitors, a heater, some power boards and a printer, you might be looking at 10 tests. So you could be doing 20, 25 tests an hour.
Yeah.
Basically like the steel body here. So so if something shorts out into the body itself, like in the unit itself, and it touches here, and then you were to come along and sort of like that's the end of you. So this is making sure that this pin here is sort of connected to the body itself here, which then ultimately, if something happens, it'll go down, come through here, in through the outlet, and sort of hopefully go through you, as long as the resistance is lower in the lead than what it is for you. So that's what we're checking, to make sure that resistance is actually quite low.
Yeah.
There's probably times where there isn't much that's going to go wrong, but you only need that one time.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I like to try and sleep each night. If you're a sound sleeper and you're quite happy getting away with whatever you want to do, well, that's sort of up to you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are at risk. The business itself, I guess, trying to get the value across. What is the actual savings here?
Yeah.
What is the risk? So, what happens if WorkSafe comes into this business and because there's been a shock, or someone someone's ran over someone, a completely different incident, and then all of a sudden they say, oh look, you're not doing any other safety work. I mean, this is just a dangerous operation. It's just a whole sort of quagmire of so the more things, I guess, in terms of trying to do the right thing towards your employees, I think the better off you are.
Yeah.
Everyone in the gyms test and tag, we all use the same equipment.
Yeah.
The reason for that, the main reason, and this is probably one of the key benefits of being with gyms, I think, is the ability someone to be able to help you. Like if I have a problem with my tester, I just pick up my phone, I'll ring up someone and I say, listen, if you had this problem, and they say, no, but Jim did, so we'll ring up him and he can help me.
Yeah.
Work-wise, we can share work, so if I'm too busy to do a job like this, I could get a franchisee, I could upload his data into his tester, and he can come and do the same thing.
Yep.
He's a gyms test and tag guy, performs the same service as what I do.
Yep.
There's no issues with the customer. He's happy. The job's getting done. The point of invoice and contacts all remain the same.
Oh.
So I've got 2 voicemails now. What's the other?
Hi Michael, this is Stephanie from Old Fleet Rentals. I was told by your phone saying to...
All right, so just had a voice message from a previous client. I don't think I've serviced them for maybe 12, 18 months now, and they've just rung up out of the blue again, wanting some testing and tagging done, and their fire extinguishers. So,
Happy days.
yeah. Probably the downside is everyone wants everything done.
Yeah.
And, there's only so much time you can offer everyone. So I guess, it can suit anyone. I guess anyone that's sort of, it's not heavy work. It's consistent. Someone that's willing to sort of go out and talk to people, happy to talk to people, is a bit outgoing, has an understanding that this is a business, not a job. I think some people get a little bit lost that that everything's going to be done for them, because although that once the work's done, I have to go home and I have to do the reports and the invoicing and the rescheduling and answering any emails, clients that want work done. So the back end of our business is probably, to me, I see it as probably the most important part, is managing that side of it. Your business development, your accounting, your scheduling and all those types of things.
Yep.
And social media now has become a big player in all that. So, but we've got guys, from 23 years old, and I think, I might get shot here, but I think there's a couple 70-year-old guys, who still enjoy it. A lot of people enjoy the company.
Yeah.
And it's not hard work.
For what you can make, though, it's a great business, I think, as a sole trader.
Once you're established and you've got a regular client base and things like that, and, the world's your oyster, basically.
Yeah.
Same as any business, you do have to work for a little bit at the start, and there will be some ups and downs, but the Jim's brand opens the doors for you. Probably the first 12 months it was, you're getting rid of those nerves and things like that, being able to approach customers. And the funny thing is, when we're at training, they said customers can smell a new person, and I'm pretty sure that that's the way it is, because I don't know whether it's a nervousness that they can sense or anything like that, but as soon as you start to become busy, it's the opposite. You're trying to, I guess, remove people away from you so you don't have to do their work. So
yeah.
There is a bit of a walk around, but generally most things are along the walls.
Yeah.
And then I guess, as you become more experienced and you've been in sort of various situations, so there will be some things like the wrappers there that we'll have to come back to. And you sort of got to constantly sort of look around for things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't even know where everything is. So, and it can surprise them actually how much stuff that they actually do have.
Yeah.
And, that was one of the considerations.
Right.
I'm not shy of any manual labour, but I was thinking, what can I do for longevity?
Yeah.
Obviously, this guy's 70 still doing it and still happy doing it. So, why can't you do that? Why retirement? Maybe you might cut down to half a day every day, or maybe 2 or 3 days a week. Or you're willing to work. It's just you come to your meetings, you network internally, you network externally. You take your lead, you provide a good service, and your business will build. It can come pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
No, and I guess that's probably one of the real benefits. So the fees are pretty much well fixed
Yeah.
for the life of the contract, which is pretty good. So regardless whether you earn 50,000 a year or 200,000 a year, you're still paying the same amount.
Yeah.
The only variable part is you do pay for a lead fee. So the more leads you get, the more lead fee you pay. But if you're not getting a lead, you're not paying any fees at all. So it's just set. And they're 10-year contracts. So at the start of the contract, the fees may seem a little bit high, but you get to year 10 and it's only like pocket change.
Yeah, for what you're generating.
Yeah. And with inflation and things like that, it's it changes significantly.
Yeah.
We're probably a little bit different to the mowing and cleaning models where we are business to business, so we probably don't get an overabundance of leads.
Yeah.
You might get a tradie who may be worth, maybe only worth $150, but it's every 3 months, and if you're doing 4 times in a year, they're $600.
Yeah.
Potentially only 20 minutes work each time.
Yeah.
So for a bit over an hour in 1 year, you've made $600. Probably the key is keeping the customer.
Yeah.
Providing a good service, ringing them up, booking them in, scheduling, and then later on, once your business becomes more established, you probably move away from the tradies and those sort of more mobile businesses to more sort of stable businesses.
Like what we were before that big warehouse thing.
Yeah, because tradies, they are a bit transient, so you can have to follow them around a little bit.
Yeah.
Where I know each day, I'm going to this place.
Yep.
I do have a few tradies in that over the 10 years I've developed really good relationships, and we probably spend more time talking than what we do actually working. Yeah, I'm test and tag side of it. I'm probably doing 300 and 350,000 a year. So a lot of that, the fire side, is really, I believe, has really sort of added some value, and I guess it took a little while to sort of actually see that value, mainly because our ideal customer isn't that big in terms of the fire. So the service may be only, we'll say, anywhere between $80 and $120 for maybe doing 1 or 2 fire extinguishers. After your first visit and your next visit, the service predominantly only takes 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can spend a whole day at a warehouse like that, and then on the way home, I've got 2 fire jobs, so I go in there and I've made another $200 in 15 to 20 minutes. It still surprises me a lot of people battle against it, because they just don't realise that the insurance company isn't going to pay out if they're not maintaining their fire equipment. And I tell them, I said, we're insurance for the insurance. So I understand, I'm empathetic towards them, but this is the way we live these days, and we just have to do it.
You don't want to give them an out. That's the thing.
Every opportunity to pay, take credit card facility, credit card online, FPOS. My preference is I just like to go in and service them. A lot of guys like to provide new ones. I do provide new ones when needed, and I'm sure the other guys do. But to me, as I said, you finish a job and then you have a couple of cafes or small restaurants that you can go in quickly, do the fire services on the way home, and your daily income has increased by 25% in the last sort of half an hour. It's and now I get clusters of fire jobs where I'll get 2 or 3 or 4 within 5 minutes of one another. It just makes it so easy. In compliant with the standard, you have to maintain the current fire equipment. The lithium fire extinguishers that are actually brought into the market. I'm not saying they don't work or anything like that, but they don't fit into our standard.
Right.
So even though they are on site, it becomes becomes a non-compliance,
Right.
which sort of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Yeah.
So some recommendations are maintaining a powder and having water available too. And I would say for the home, the domestic use, if you're charging batteries or things like that, only do it during the day. Make sure it's like in a garage where there's only concrete and nothing can potentially burn, just in case.
Yeah.
And just those sensible things at night, turn them off. Maybe have a smoke alarm available somewhere and go from there. Originally it started, all my franchisees were so busy, so any of the work that I was getting, I couldn't offload, and it was actually stressing me out.
Yeah.
Because I do want to provide a good service, and I felt that I couldn't provide a good service. So I was. So I actually, it's worked out that I've found some university students that are after some work, don't want to work 5 days of the week, and I'm relatively flexible in what days or hours that they can work. So it was sort of a win-win from that scenario. Yeah, so we put him through the, he gets his certificate. 99% of the time he works with me.
Yep.
Side by side, he's happy, he's diligent. He goes to uni on Mondays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday he works with me. Thursday and Friday are probably a little bit shorter days because he's a musician.
Yep.
And so he teaches students music in the other time. So, and if he wants a day off or whatever, it doesn't really hurt me that much. So everyone does things slightly different. Splitting your business once they get larger. Yeah. But in some cases, you can't find a franchisee or an incoming franchisee to buy your business that quickly, and sometimes between it's manageable to unmanageable can happen very quickly. And as I said, it became quite stressful for me that I just couldn't manage, and no one can sort of really help me. So and actually, I was getting other franchisees out of other regions to help me. They were driving miles. Anyone that was new that I was. Yeah. And that comes back down to the internal networking.
Yep. So real quickly, this thing here is what films Michael. So no complaints, please, about Michael's not watching the road or anything like that, or we've got some phone on there. It's this little Osmo thing here which goes here. It's nice, safe and secure. So for safety, Michael's just chatting, and that will film him as well. So there's nothing distracting him. It's all compliant. It's all legal. So please, no complaints.
So each franchisee is giving territory, an area. Generally, it's around a postcode or something around that. There's generally 1,000 businesses.
1,000 businesses, yeah.
In that area. So the franchisee, if they're on leads, they have first right of refusal for any inquiries that are made within his territory. If he's not on leads, it will go to the next person in line. So there's a priority list. So if, for say instance, Joel, you've had a lead and I haven't had a lead, the next lead would then come to me.
Yeah.
Outside the territory, you can still get leads, but you do go into this priority type list.
Yeah.
For new franchisees, generally it's a 2-for-1, so they get 2 more leads compared to an established franchisee that will only get 1 lead. So it's $1,400 a week. Yeah. So the idea of it is to get the franchisee out on the road and doing jobs, small jobs, maybe tradies, or go and offer their services for free, and then sort of maintain those records and basically provide them to the franchisor, and he will sort of reimburse for that work done.
So you're paying him to build their business?
Yeah. In some of those larger jobs, I would just bring them along with me, and that whatever they do, they would get paid for doing that. Or maybe either some tradies that need doing, I would sort of pass them off onto them, and they would go and do those jobs. They just need to be out there on the road. At breakfast, I was talking to Ridwin. He's become a partner of Cuzzy, who's been in for 12 months, and he said he was sitting in a shopping court, and a guy come up from one of the shops and asked him for a business card because he needs to get his shop tested and tagged. And he said, just because he was wearing the shirt. No other reason. So there's a number of options, and I guess my first port of call, is this something you want to do? You can have a green field, you can buy new customers in, you can buy a business that someone's selling, or maybe they're splitting their business and want to their business is too big and they've got too many clients, or there might be a franchisee who's out west and he's got some clients in the east of Melbourne, and he's just sick of driving all the way through the traffic to get to them, so he may sell them to a franchisee, and generally they work out pretty good terms between one another. So maybe no money up front, and they just pay for when they service the client. So it's a win-win for both parties. So a greenfield, you're looking around 55,000 as setup costs. It does include things like laptops and printers and things like that. But if you've already got those types of things, you don't need to go out and buy a new laptop or anything like that. It's just as long as you've got something reliable. That is the main criterion. Same as a vehicle. We do want to be seen as a commercial entity. So we do like to get around in commercial vehicles. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new. I would say the main criteria is it's reliable and looks neat and tidy, because you want to present well. So there's actually a couple businesses. So they're both fire safety jobs. So they have a couple fire extinguishers and their exit and emergency lights. So in this case, this is where the real value sort of creates, because they're so close together that you can do them both together. This business, typical small factory, fire equipment, portable fire equipment, and the exit and emergency lights. So one of the checks we go through and make sure that all the exit and emergency lights are working on mains power. You can see a little green light up there saying it's fully charged at the moment. The exit light test or discharge test runs for 90 minutes. So we go down here, they're isolated from the main system, and then we turn the power off to them and let them run their batteries. Portable fire equipment. So the checks are location signs. Make sure that everyone can see it. A type sign. So that tells you what type of fires you can use this fire extinguisher on. It's at the right height. It's all in date. So it's within 5 years of the manufacture date there. So once it gets to 5 years past that, the fire extinguisher either needs pressure testing or replacing. We give it a bit of a clean to make sure that it's all bright and everyone can see it. Probably a critical part of it is making sure the powder inside is free. Because sometimes when it sits like that for so long, it will compress down to the bottom. If you pull this, no powder may come out at the end. 6 months. So fire equipment and the exit emergency lights is all 6 months. Alarm systems, doors, things like that have slightly different requirements. Some cases maybe a little bit more frequently, but yeah, so we tick a lot of the boxes.
Yeah.
You know, we can come and do their testing tagging, we can do their fire equipment, exit and emergency lights, and bundle it all up and give them some really good value.
Yeah.
The maintenance tag, so that's an indicator that I've come here, or someone's come here and they've checked it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's passed, but it has been checked. I'll issue a report later on to the client and it'll say whether it's passed, failed, or something needs to be. Well, all those documents are meant to be located on site.
Yeah.
Generally around the meter box.
Yeah.
So if there is a fire, the fire department can locate what's in here, what's been done, what's maintained. All right, so this is the test switch for the exit and emergency lights. So we just give that a flick onto test, and you can see now that this emergency light just up here has come on, and you'll see on this one here, so the mains 240 volt light there has now gone off. So this test needs to run for 90 minutes.
Yep.
So this one, the battery's failed straight away because it's not illuminated. The emergency light, you can see how that's come on now. So now we wait for 90 minutes to check the batteries in all the others.
Yeah. So if that one hasn't come on, you've obviously got to replace it, or how's it work?
Yeah, so either a replacement. We can't do that personally, or I can't. Well, that one's failed too. I can't do it personally. You need an electrician to do that because it's hardwired in.
Yeah.
So if you're an electrician, you can make, this is extra money for you.
Yeah.
So same thing, location, label, and type sign. One of the best places for the fire extinguishers on the way out of on an exit, so that if there is a fire, you can get to this point, turn around with the fire extinguisher. Can I put it out? Yes, I can. You go in. If I can't, you keep going. If you have the fire extinguisher located at the back somewhere, you go in there and the fire traps you in there, that's the end of you. So location of where the equipment is critical, as opposed to just having a fire extinguisher. Yeah, some of them do.
Yeah.
And it sort of nearly gets to the point where perhaps they're not our customer.
Right.
That, they just can't see any value in it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a couple of customers that I do the fire service, and the company that's actually in the building actually does the fire service because they won't share the reports.
Ah, right.
So it gets done twice within a month.
Wow.
Because they both need the reports for their insurance.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, for a few $100s to make sure that they got insurance for their multi-million-dollar business, it's not much money really.
Yeah. Standard factory, you got your fire extinguishers, you got your exit light.
Yeah. I mean, that for me, that size factory, those ones are just the perfect size. That's like the real honey.
Yeah.
We can do it once you sort of get into alarms and sprinklers. You have to bring contractors in, external contractors and things like that. For our point of view, it just starts to become complicated managing all that.
Yeah.
And I like to try and keep them pretty simple if I can.
Yep.
I know a few of the franchises. They, they've gone into the alarm panels and things like that. So, works for them. So, it's probably up around 35, sort of 30 to 40%, I would say. So I at least spend one day a week just doing strictly fire stuff. And the way I've set it up is the fire stuff, you know, things like doing exit emergency lights, so there could be a little bit of downtime. Sit down and have a bit of lunch or a coffee or whatever, and just sort of, you know, although I don't get to play the golf, but you know, I try to make it as casual as I can, while at the same time sort of still making money. I mean, a lot of it I would say is sort of between sort of Clayton and Dandenong South.
Right.
I do have some larger clients out west. I do have a large sort of company. So they do facades and things like that. So they work primarily on all the defence bases. So it's Cerebus and Victoria Barracks and Fisherman's Bend and Puckapunyal. So there is a little bit of travelling with them. But it's sort of, you know, sometimes you take a little bit of bad with the good. You know, they're forever ringing me up all the time. Sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad because it's just puts demand on you.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a number of different things, and I think it's probably varied over the journey. I think, you know, at the start when I had younger children, so I'm pretty sure I was at most sporting events and sort of events during the day, and my wife works in a hospital, so, you know, I could drop the kids off at school, she could pick them up. There was always someone at home, basically. So there was that freedom. And now, you know, everything's established. I guess a bit of the freedom to do whatever you want to do. If I don't want to work, I don't really have to work.
Yeah.
My probably biggest problem is what do I do with the customer for the day?
Yeah.
It's like, but, you know, anyone at the breakfast, I'll give them a ring and ask them, you know, can you go and service this customer? And if they're not busy, there's no reason why they won't go and do it. Generally, it's how much it costs and how much can I earn.
Yeah.
They're probably the two main ones.
Yeah.
The cost one is pretty sort of straightforward. It's sort of around the 55,000. And then, you know, how much, and it sort of comes down to, you know, if you put it down to an hourly rate, you know, say, you know, I had one guy when I first got in, and he was probably only doing about 70,000 a year, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, how are you living? But he's probably only working 10 or 15 hours a week.
Not bad.
So, you know, when you look at it from that perspective, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, what you put into it is what you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like any business, although the brand opens doors for us, you know, there's still, you know, those first couple of years of sort of getting going, developing in relationships, your networks, internal and external. Do all that, you know, eventually it'll be kicking goals for you, no problems at all. Your vehicle.
Vehicle's the main one.
Yeah. So, yeah, your fees and the vehicle.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the tags, I think it's $10 for a roll of 250. Yeah. If you equate that, you know, you're going to make over $1,000 for your roll of tags.
Yeah.
And it's cost you $10.
Yeah.
Your uniforms, you know, you might buy a couple of new shirts and a pair of pants once a year. You know, the other question that, you know, prospects ask is, you know, how much is a lead worth? You know, how much, you know, can you earn?
Yeah.
And it is a bit of a tough one. But, you know, say for a fire job, like with 2 fire extinguishers that'll take you potentially 10 minutes to do.
Yeah.
You know, I charge anywhere between $80 and $100, and primarily that the ultimate of what that is how I feel on the day.
Yeah.
But I know there's guys, you know, they'll get leads for 10, 20, 30, $40,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember one old franchisee, you know, in February he got a lead, it was worth $14,000, you know, he's happy, you know, and all that. And then by June and July he was complaining about, oh, you know, the leads are no good, you know, they're only small quantities. And I'm like, well, I'm happy to take a percentage of what your leads are worth.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, if you look over the 6 months, you'll earn, you know, a lot of money.
Average it out, yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. You just got to look at the perspective. And I know there are, you know, what are deemed, you get a few tire kickers and things like that, but, you know, you just, it's like digging for gold. You can't pick the big nuggets all the time.
Yeah.
So we're at a local dentist.
Yeah.
So come to do their 6 monthly fire extinguisher inspection. Yeah, no problems. Just come in, introduce yourself, make yourself known so that I don't sort of pop around and sort of scare anyone. Looks like the signs are missing, so we might have to mention that to them for some unknown reasons, whether they've painted the walls and signs haven't gone back up again. Actually, these fire extinguishers are due to be replaced, so this is the second of 20. Yeah, so if here I'll have a chat to them.
Yeah.
Because they're classified as a non-critical defect, they don't have to actually replace it like immediately. It gives them a little bit of breathing space to do that. If it was flat or there was some other real critical problem with the fire extinguisher, you talk to them straight away and say, listen, you know, the fire extinguisher's no good, we need to do something about it, and go from there. So at the end of this, so, you know, tonight I'll go home, do the invoice, issue them with a report, and then I'll give them a quote on anything that needs to be sort of done or replaced or what needs to be done.
Cool.
Probably doing the bookwork. Oh, well, what was the bookwork for me? Only the fact that, you know, you've done a whole day and then you have to do more once you get home. You know, being, you know, dedicated and disciplined enough to make sure that, you know, you do a day's work, you go home and you invoice them that day. I know there's guys, you know, that maybe struggling a little bit, and you find out that you know, I invoice at the end of the week. And it's like, you invoice them straight away because then they realise how important money is to you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just showing them. And it's all part of the service. It's, you know, they're expecting an invoice.
Yes.
It's not like it's something foreign. You know, I've forgotten and I've had clients, you know, where's your invoice? I don't think it's that hard. As long as you're willing to learn.
Yeah.
If you're a person willing to learn new things, you know, a lot of it is learning on the job. Like, you'll learn the initial skills, you know, during training and things like that, and a lot of that'll stick, and that'll apply for 95% of the things you test.
Yeah.
Probably for the first 6 months, and then, you know, you might start to get a few more three-phase equipment, you know, and I think what, you know, in the whole scheme of things, it's really no different to a single phase. It's just bigger.
Yep.
And I think that sort of puts people off. Or generators is probably the other tricky one, that, you know, because you might do it once or twice at training, and then you mightn't do one. It might be 12 months before you get to do one. And it's like, you know, so I think one of my first jobs, I was doing a tradie, and he pulled out all his equipment, and there was a generator there, and I'm thinking, how do I test the generator? And he was standing right there, so I had to just do everything else in the hope that he would go away. And then I rang up who was Paul Kelly, and he walked me through the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was happy days.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, as soon as he said a few things, it just sort of flooded back.
Yeah.
You know, when every school it's mandatory for schools.
Yep.
It's mandatory for commercial construction. Probably not so much. Well,
I only see it increasing in terms of being mandatory,
Yeah.
in terms of what they're going to do, right? Yeah.
franchises,
Yep.
like your Baker's Delights, McDonald's, all them. It's a
Have to do it.
have to do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of businesses that need to get it done, but don't particularly get it done. Yeah, other trades.
Yeah.
I think we've had teachers.
Teachers.
IT guys.
Yeah.
Just general.
Doesn't matter. Any background can do it, right?
Yeah.
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 Just attitude more than anything.
Yeah, attitude, and I'd say someone that does want to develop a business.
Yeah.
I think having that sort of mindset, it's and not, we're not buying a job.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a job, well, maybe you go with some of the other percentage-based businesses, and and you go, you do that. That may be better suited for you. Yeah, you're talking to other businesses, and I mean that varies from guy the same size as us, or big brands, like Amazon and things like that. I mean, even still, if you want to go on holidays or something like that, I mean,
people will look after your clients, or
you can spread your schedule out. Clients that you can't move, or for whatever reason, or you get someone else to do them. You've maintained them, they're happy, you've still got them. That's and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You keep your clients happy. Yeah, and there is some husband and wife teams out there.
Yeah.
And there's no reason. And it's probably, I think, with the childcare thing sort of happening, it's probably a room that a point of difference of having a female test and tag person. Yeah, I mean, we are, I guess, predominantly male dominated, but I mean, the construction industry and all those are now not as, you see a lot of females in there now.
And I think it's a good thing.
So, there's opportunities there. Well, if you're a, stay-at-home mum that's dropped the kids off at school.
Amazing flexibility.
Say you can get out there by quarter to 9, finish by 3 o'clock to pick up the kids.
Good hourly rate too, it's a great, and it's not overly physical, so that's a really, really good option for people that hopefully they start considering. So Michael, thanks for taking us out on a day on the road today. We covered a bit of everything, with fire safety plus the test and tag side of the business as well. Beautiful day, it's very hot, so we thank you for having us out here. But if someone wants to learn more, it's pretty simple. Just call 131 546 or just head to gyms.net, put a franchise inquiry in, and you can come out with any of our franchisees or franchisors like Michael as well. But it's a great business. Yeah. Really enjoyed it today. I'm considering it myself when I get a bit older, for sure. But thank you again.
No problems, Joel. Good to talk to you.